What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co host, Jeff Santa. Today, we are bringing you the Cleveland Browns Week 4 matchup preview against the Atlanta Falcons. If you guys haven't been on social media, you might have missed that Miles Garrett was in a very, you know, bad car accident by the seams of things. He is fine, his passenger is fine. His status for the game is up in the air, but we're just thankful that he is all right. His passenger is all right, and everyone is okay. But with that being said, we do have a game to talk about here. Obviously, the Browns are 2-1 after having two very good passing games by Jacoby Brissett and one Amari Cooper. Looking to continue that going into Atlanta, into a dome, which will be
Hmm.
interesting. I'm very interested to see how Cade York does in perfect conditions. That'll be an
True.
interesting one. But outside of that, Jeff, the Atlanta Falcons, they know how to score some points, and our defense is hurting a little bit in injuries and otherwise blown coverages. So, what is some opening thoughts you have about this matchup?
Like you said, I'm a little bit nervous about the defense. I think we're down at key positions, especially at edge, especially at linebacker. So you're going to need people to step up. We kind of thought this to be the case as far as the defensive tackle room all year, but now it's crept into other areas. You see some people not practicing today, some people practicing today. They were more limited the other days, whatever it may be. It's always weird until game time. And I feel like it's unfortunate that we really have not utilized the mini bye week. It's like, like you said on the top, we're grateful that everyone was safe and okay as far as the grand scheme of things in the Miles Garrett incident. But it's like, this is your week to have everyone healthy coming off Thursday night football. And it's somewhat been the opposite, a little bit frustrating, but it's our Brownies. We know that nothing's really ever easy.
Yeah, and outside of that, I mean, we do have some players, doing pretty well in some certain aspects. Jeff making sure to send me stuff about John Johnson and Martin Emerson, and other players who have been doing well on the defensive side of the ball. But like you said, obviously, us sustaining injuries all around. Looking at the injury report, just a few notable names here. JOK with a groin injury. We know he left
Mm-hmm.
the Steelers game with that groin injury. He did not practice the day before, but was limited today. Um, Jadavian Clowney still has not practiced. Obviously, Miles has not practiced. Denzel Ward has a back and ribs injury that he did not practice the day before and was limited today. Um, and those are, and Taven Bryan obviously out. But that's your defensive line. That's your front seven, and some of your bigger, defensive names right there. To the Atlanta Falcons, one player who is just resting. It's tough to believe that we have a long week, and we're littered with all these injuries and whatnot going into this game.
Yeah, it's a little bit it's kind of unbelievable, but like you said, Miles Garrett back in the building today to what, 2 days after the car accident, so it's like that's crazy on its own right. I hope I we don't like it's not a game where we need him to play. I feel like he's going to want to try to play, which I don't know how smart of an idea that is as far as looking at the whole picture, but I don't know. This Atlanta offense is no pushover. There really isn't any pushover offenses in the National Football League, as we saw. Joe Flacco light us up 2 weeks ago. So
Marcus
yeah,
Mariota.
they got weapons. They got Patterson. They got Kyle Pitts. They got a young wide receiver in Drake London, rookie. So Mariota is going to try to revive his career there and try to go on with his life. So I think this is a game in a dome where you're going to have to play pretty good defense. And I don't want to say that our offense is going to have to win the game for us, but as far as the way the two units are trending, that's just how it is every week, seemingly somehow.
Yeah, and the one thing that's got to be, the one thing that the offense can do to win the game that it's just consistent with how the first couple of games should go is that they need to win the time of possession by a good margin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to give a team that has the potential to score a lot of points on you a lot of opportunities, and even when they do have those opportunities, to limit them to time and have them play under the pressure of the clock. So again, Jeff, I believe you were talking to me about Atlanta and the rushing game. Would you want to get a little bit more into that in their defense?
Their defense is not good against running the ball. It's just plain and simple. And I feel like this happens where I don't even research these stats or I don't even think of these stats, but it's like I see it on Twitter all week and it makes me a little bit nervous because they have the worst run defense in the league. Chubb should go off, Hunt should go off. Anthony Schwartz on end arounds should be huge home run ball. I agree, but it's to the point where I don't want to, overseed even expectations and be like, okay, Chubb and Hunt are combining for 300 yards on the ground. Like, is that a possibility? I think it might be, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just keep it consistent. We don't even need. Well, you get a Superman performance every week from Nick Chubb, seemingly.
Of
So,
course.
hopefully that continues. But
Hopefully he doesn't have to run a ton. Hopefully they can
correct.
split the carries. Maybe we can get Jerome Ford and in it.
Sure. Yeah.
Looking,
Maybe Dearness, you never know if their defense is really that bad. Let's spread the love around and just keep just do exactly what you did last week against Pittsburgh. And I think you have an extremely good chance, 75, 80% chance to win the ball game.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at it right now. The tweet you sent me, Jeff. We have the number one rushing efficiency as a team, and they have the 32nd
Mm-hmm.
rushing defense. So if that doesn't tell you all you need to know about what the game plan should be, well, there it is. That's incredible. I mean, that's a great matchup for us to have, though. And
For sure.
to say Kareem and Chubb go for 300, I would love that. A split of 200 to 100 and 150 between the two of them would be nice. But
But you know how the NFL works. Like, think
yeah,
about it from our perspective, covering, as fans of the Browns. When a team does something so bad, that's your emphasis for the upcoming game. And it's not a secret that we have this crazy, rushing attack. Everybody knows Nick Chubb. Everybody knows Kareem Hunt could be a starting running back anywhere else in the league. We know this to be true. So they know that to be true. You think that the game plan all week is to scheme the run as best as possible. You'll like this one. It sounds reminiscent of last year. Make Jacoby Brissett beat you. If Jacoby Brissett beats you, if he outthrows you and you just stack the box all game and you shut down Chubb and you shut down Hunt, you could live with yourself at night if Brissett, continues to play at a high level. If Stefanski continues to scheme at a high level, you get beat in Atlanta. They don't have a whole lot of expectations for this year. They're playing with, some guys who are trying to get their careers back on track. Like I've said, some younger guys, you had the Ridley suspension for the whole year. So it's like, Atlanta doesn't have anything to lose. I'm basically chalking this up to be similar to the Jets game, more similar to the Jets game than the Steelers game. Hopefully not an outcome and, how we handle the last 2 minutes of the game. But it's like, am I expecting fake punts? Yes. Am I expecting trickery on special teams? Yes. Am I expecting them to, get an onside kick from us? No. But is it a possibility? For sure. I'm expecting trick plays. Everything's on the table for this Atlanta team. Why not?
yeah, Jeff. I just sent you a tweet. I'm gonna butcher her name because I never learned how to say it, but Shazina Anderson, I believe it is.
Osina, yes.
Yeah, her tweet reads, my understanding is that Miles Garrett wants to play this Sunday, but it's going to be a medical decision at this time.
She really just tweeted this too.
Yeah, typically we would record this at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon some days and
I told you
not
he
get
wants to
any of that
play.
news. Yeah, it's funny that we actually get to be able to report on this news for once instead of sending it to each other late at night and
Right.
be like, well, great, of course this happens afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I watched that video of him like immediately after the accident and like outside of him being like, oh yeah, my bicep and shoulder hurt, like he looked dazed. Like I don't know if they tested him for a concussion, but obviously like he was taken to the hospital. He was released from the hospital the same night and wasn't, there wasn't anything added to that report. So like if it's just like he's probably like a little sore in those areas, but like that's not going to be a ton to keep one Miles Garrett away from playing if it's his decision. So we'll see when it comes to game time. But I'm sure they'll get that. I'm sure he'll get on the field real early on and they'll test him real quick and we'll know at least by like 11, like 11:30 if he's good to go. No later than noon. It would be my expectation of when we would get news of if he's good to go or not.
That's a good point. And this is kind of, you see something new every day as far as covering professional sports, but it's like, well, first of all, I'm glad that, as soon as it happened, of course, rumors flying and what's true and what's not true, because when it first happened, people were saying he had a broken wrist. So as far as, like we've already said, as far as just his overall health before football, grateful for that. But I'm also glad he doesn't have a broken wrist. And then who knows? Does he have to go through like a third party NFL doctor? Is there a different protocol if you have an off field injury? Does he go through our team doctors to get cleared? Does he go through, like I said, does someone at the Cleveland Clinic have to be like, oh yeah, like an independent, non-biased away from the team, someone who's like, oh yeah, he's good, just put him out there? A lot of interesting things there. So I'll be curious to see how it goes. But he hasn't had a sack in 2 weeks. Obviously, he garners more double teams than anybody in the National Football League through 3 weeks of the season. But it would be very NFL for him to have a car crash where his vehicle rolls 3 times on Tuesday, and then he breaks the Browns sack record on Sunday as far as the franchise. So
that's a hell of a storyline.
For sure.
Plenty of times we thought it would have happened by now, but in terms of him just playing, it gives your team defensively, like you said, he's the most double team player. Team scheme away from him, it helps hopefully make Joe Woods' job easier and everyone else's jobs easier. Right. So hopefully we'll see, whatever's in his best interest. Let's hope that all works out for him. But Jeff, anything else about this game? What is your key to this game?
Just to keep the identity. I think we've established this identity. Not a lot of people are huge fans of this identity. People want Stefanski to, be the passing guru all the time, but it doesn't have to be. It shouldn't be in the AFC North. Run the ball efficiently, more than you pass, and just keep with that narrative. We've ran more run plays than pass plays, so just keep with that. Let the guys up front carry you if you're going to have them perform at a high level. Now, if they come out and stink, which is, possibility, but unlikely. If Wills comes out and stinks, if Teller has penalties, if, Conklin doesn't look as good as he did last week, maybe you do have to go to the air. But it's like, if you're going to get high quality performances from your offensive line another week that we know it could kind of flip on and off like a light switch we saw last year where we couldn't run against teams, just keep riding that all the way to the finish line.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'm just going to echo that with that. Just manage the clock to your advantage and don't let Atlanta get the chance to come back from behind, because I feel like they've done that, or at least put up the amount of points that they have in the past couple of weeks. So, all right, Jeff, with that being said, everyone, make sure if you guys are watching
predictions.
Oh, yeah.
Almost forgot.
Yeah. Listen, man, we just came off of the Cavs.
I know.
And we were talking about predictions.
I know.
When we get to that. But now we'll have predictions for this game. In the Dome.
I'm nervous in the Dome, and I'm nervous with our offense, how well they've been. I'm nervous to say a high score, but I'm going to say it.
I'm going to say a high score because I don't think I've said a high score since probably I don't even know if I said week 1 high score. I think I kept it all below 24 for the most part. I'm going to go 31, 24.
Wow. I'm going to say 30-24.
Okay.
Browns.
All right. 31-24 Browns. Yeah, I think we keep it far enough out of reach for them that it doesn't get too scary, but hopefully that's the case and whatnot. But now, if you guys have all made it to the end here and everything, please make sure you guys are subscribing, liking the video, leaving your comments. What do you think the prediction of this game is going to be? What do you think the outcome is going to be? Hopefully the Browns move on to 3-1 and get a nice, comfy lead in the AFC North. But with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.